But this guy killed no one, and I'm glad he's dead. Which brings us to another interesting story.
Do we get to talk about it?
Yeah, I think we need to.
Yeah.
So we are short a Supreme Court justice.
Yes.
Ironic that his prefix is justice, because
He denied so many.
Yeah, not really good at the whole
Not
justice
very
thing.
good at that.
And it's very strange because he was my example that one can be degreed and well educated and well studied and can use a really nice, a really cool vocabulary and still be kind of a moron.
Yeah.
I don't.
Your thinking is flawed.
It's not in your education. You're the problem.
And we were talking during pre-show just like how much power he had and how he used that in such a negative way.
Right. He rose to a position where he literally had power for how long was he in the seat? Wasn't he the longest standing?
Yeah, something like that. It was a long time.
Since 86.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, okay, so he spent 30 years making life less pleasant for many, many people.
Yeah.
How many people get to do that with their power?
Yeah.
It's just sad. And so, the question is, what's the humanist perspective on this?
Well,
what are we allowed to say here? Are we allowed to be happy that he's gone? And I think we're allowed to be happy that he's out of power. I think that we get to champion our banners and be like, yes, he's out of power. But the death thing,
we can still find empathy for his family and people who loved him, but for the nation overall,
I can't.
I can find empathy in the fact that he never overcame whatever it was that made him that bad. Like the fact that he spent his entire
to be anything. Can't.
He got affected and never recovered. He was not born that way. Nobody's born that way. I don't believe that they are. I think that they get affected to the point that they have broken brains and they are not thinking properly anymore, and it's whether or not you ever recover from that. And I don't think that he did.
I don't know that I'm gonna.
Power.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to. That's a long conversation, and I am hardly in a professional position to make that kind of judgment. But I think that this is an interesting question that we have every time this happens, and it will continue to happen.
You mean a bad person dies?
Well, yeah, a bad person dies. That the community as a whole says is that we've got a population of people, including myself, who is glad that that person is no longer allowed to cause pain anymore.
Yeah.
And then you've got a bunch of other people who generally I stand with on a great many things, who say that this is not the humanist position to take. This is, I'm not going to do that, et cetera, et cetera.
I think it's really just two different things. I think they're two different conversations. One is power and one is life. And that might be it. Because had he just no longer been at the bench, I would have called it, there's the win.
Right. Unfortunately, the death is the only way he could get out of that job without retiring, and he made it very clear that retiring wasn't going to be on the menu.
Yeah.
Right, because he's bad person.
And so he would always, and we can talk about his stances on abortion, where he basically, the stance was women don't have a right to it, and questions about control over body, and then he said that, he was consistently against laws that discriminated on race, creed, or gender, except when he decided it no longer except when he wasn't. I mean, not every ruling this guy made was terrible. He made some okay ones. But the other side of that is we're talking about a guy who went to, I think it was a funeral, dressed up as a 15th century scholar, which makes it very clear where he thought he was getting his morality from. And the kind of rulings that he would make, and where his thoughts were coming from. And I'd like to point out that was a time before the framers of the Constitution, which I always found a little puzzling.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. He's not talking about, he's not talking about Hume. He's not talking about the Polish legal scholars. He's talking, some of the people who led to the thinking behind the Constitution. He's going to, like, Cromwell type stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you looked into the history of Cromwell. Not that great.
No.
They brought the king back. Come on. That's, Anyway, I could go on. And there's going to be some other history nerd, or an actual history nerd, because I'm not actually a history nerd, who's going to correct me on nearly everything I said.
That's great. Send us an email.
Send us an email.
Please, I beg
Leave us
you.
a voicemail.
Yeah.
We will read it.
Questions at askanatheist.tv, 844-skeptic. Give us a call. Tell me how wrong I am. For me, it's not just having bad ideas, because everybody has bad ideas. I got a load of them.
I got plenty of bad ideas.
For me, the reason why I'm glad he's dead, and I'm glad he's dead and not merely retired, is because this was a person with very destructive ideas and power. Mm-hmm. And this is the part where I have a lot of trouble communicating with people is on this one is. It's not that he was defending, he felt he was defending a way of life or that he was defending, no, he actually said basically to the effect. I can't chapter and verse you on that one. Haha. But,
he was definitely the most conservative.
He was the most conservative.
And so it's an ideology that he was protecting, for sure.
But he was defending an ideology against human beings.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't care, like, it's always long been something I've said is like, yes, of course, I have an evangelically atheist show, whatever, call it what you like. I'm evangelist, but what I've been trying to evangelize is that we should be allowed to partake in the same sort of society that religious people do. That it's never been you should become an atheist. Now, if you want to have that conversation, I'm willing to have it. But this isn't my platform for it.
Faisal, I never remember, is it Faisal?
I think it's
he
Faisal.
once said, if you're ethical, then I love you. And I really like that. I'm like, I'll champion that.
Yeah.
If you're ethical, then I love you. You don't have to be an atheist, but hey.
Yeah, I don't want. Christopher Hitchens, if we're on the quote, said that if he had the chance if he had to convert, like had the opportunity to convert the last religious person away from religion, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I kind of have come to the same kind of thinking. Is I don't really feel it's like my responsibility to stamp religion out. And it would be really nice if a lot of these religious people would come away with the same idea.
Yeah,
because it's like you got people who just want to get married, and clearly the evidence is in now. All of you who thought that this would immediately lead to dogs and cats getting married in space and Christian slavery and whatever.
That would be an excellent YouTube video.
That sounds like a good weekend to me.
It does. But but as it turns out, the people who wanted marriage equality wanted exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Antonin Scalia was defending an ideology against people's happiness.
Yep.
And I will never, if I ever become that guy, kill me. All right?
Done and done.
Thanks.